The Marketing Futurist Podcast, episode number 9. Mind-blowing inspiration to create and innovate. This is your Futurist advantage.
Welcome to the Marketing Futurist Podcast, where your hosts, Mary Catherine Johnson and Kelly Garrett, chat with innovators who are keeping the human in marketing while driving the future of tech to give all of us a futurist advantage.
You know myself, you know Kelly, and the person on the screen I can't wait to introduce you to, if you don't know him already, Andrew Yarashevsky of Chatfuel. He's the COO and CPO at Chatfuel. Hey, Andrew, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. What about you?
I'm loving life. Let me tell you,
Yes. We're just rolling. It's amazing.
We're just riding this rocket ship. I'm telling you right now, it's amazing to hear all these people. You guys are just doing incredible things. So I can't wait to jump in and find out more about it. So where we want to start is just kind of introduce you. I gave you a basic introduction, but you tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and of course your company, just as an introduction.
All right, sure. So yeah, I'm Andrew, and I've been in tech for like 15 years. And I started as a software engineer. I'm originally from Ukraine, so pardon my English. And I lived in Ukraine most of my life, I guess. I lived in work in Denmark, in Copenhagen. Then I moved to Moscow, Russia. I worked at the Russian tech giant Yandex, which is like Russian Google and Amazon and Spotify and whatever, and Uber. And I spent there like 6 years or 5 years, and then moved here to San Francisco Bay Area. And together with my partners, we're doing the Chatfuel, the leading platform to create chatbots for non-technical people. I cannot call myself a marketer necessarily. I'm mostly from the engineering and all that part, but I tend to see that when you combine things like engineering and new technologies with something that is not necessarily related to that, it might be biotech, it might be education, it might be marketing. This is where you get the new level. This is where you get the disruptions. So I think, yeah, it's a good combination. And at Chatfuel, just wanted to give it a little bit of background. We power more than 90,000 bots right now, and these are the like monthly active bots, not just like that bots or something. These are real bots that serve to more than 90 million people worldwide. So it's like, yeah, it's a huge audience to learn from. We really enjoy that because like there are lots of use cases, lots of different bot creators and marketers around the world, and we managed. We still don't understand how, but we managed to build a tool that is used both by like big brands. They're really like crazy on like flexibility, integration, stuff like that, like T-Mobile or Burberry or Adidas and likewise. And we also have a lot of SMBs, maybe like majority, and like restaurants, like coffee shops and things of that nature. So we're like a little startup. Like we have around like 20 teammates, 2 offices, one in Moscow, Russia, one in San Francisco, and we have some decent investors and advisors. So that's a little bit about us.
Nice.
Yeah, and of course, Kelly and I are immersed in the world of bots, definitely, all day, every day.
Yeah.
And I love what you said. Absolutely love the word disrupt.
Yes.
Just do. It's not as violent of a word as it could be, but we are absolutely participating in that disruption. So tell me a little bit more about why you think this is disruptive. Why do you think so? How are bots? I love the way you tied in the engineering and the technology with the application, with education, marketing, all those kinds of things. So how does that technology disrupt things when it gets combined with other industries?
Oh yeah, I mean, we talking like more broadly, not just only marketing right now, right? Did I get it right?
Yep.
So, I mean, if it is probably an example that would everybody understand is more like medicine, right? There is like a lot of observations and experiments being made, and a lot of patients going on with the same symptoms, right? But there is never been a combined database of kind of symptoms and outcomes, right? And then nobody till this stage try to actually put a machine into that and do the machine learning that will actually try to find the correlation between the symptoms and outcomes. This is like a completely new level of that, right? It's not just a brain of a couple of experts that will try to find the answer. It's actually the same machine that serves Google results to you. It's like it's capable of huge calculations, and I think these things could find some correlations and maybe causations for the diseases and and cures. And another thing is like basically people been working with more like general sets and rules. Like if you have a headache, then you probably have this, but there was no system in place that could be doing this in a personalized way. So every single person is a unique being, and if we can understand the genome, for example, then you could basically have a specific pill to your needs, right? And this is going to be like a completely new level of disruption. If you take the same examples to the marketing, I think this is basically all the same approaches that could be taken. Like I'm gonna be saying pretty trivial things, but marketing will become personalized for sure. More and more tools and platforms will know more about people, and marketing will know how to use that. And instead of like bombarding people with all the offers and everything, every single person will be getting like exactly the thing they need at exactly time. And that comes only with the big data and ability for platforms to process it, predict, and recommend, do recommendation, things like that.
Yeah.
So
I love that because, you think about going back to the medical example, clinical trials, and even in marketing, we look at statistics, and statistics account for a majority of the population, and that's what you make your decisions on, is whatever is the most popular or whatever is the most frequently occurring thing. But with, like you say, with, having the database and the computer ability to analyze that data, we're talking about individuals, and we can make decisions and personalization for somebody on an individual level, a person who's in the minority, which up until now we haven't been able to do that. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we look on our platform and the users, like, of course there is, again, like if we take the general set, there is like peak hours where people open up the notifications on bots, right? And you could probably like tailor to this peak hours and you will be in a good shape. But in order to be in the best shape, you actually need to understand when everyone is on Messenger, so you don't disrupt their flow, and like do this exactly time when needed. And this is where you do, instead of like one to many, you do one-on-one, but at scale.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about everything we've been doing in social media and technology has been really to broaden and to reach as many people as possible and group people into certain groups so that we can send information to them based on their group they belong to or our social media, reach. But really what we're doing is we've gone broad like that, and now it sounds like what you're saying is our disruption is that we can now take that data, that broad data, and pinpoint it down to the individual level. And that is a complete disruption in the way we've been thinking of the word scale. Right? I mean, we think of scale as
absolutely
huge and reaching everybody, but really the only way you can really scale effectively in the future, it sounds like, is to get to the individual.
Absolutely. Yeah. You firstly need to kind of drill it down, and then like you kind of need to reimagine that again. You need to drill it down to the very personal needs. And right now you like by opening up the messenger and other personal channels, you actually have this ability. And then you need to think of, all right, how do I scale to other people like this? And how do I set the technology to do the like one by one?
Wow. Okay, so thinking of that, go ahead, Kelly.
Oh, well, no. So I was just going to say that. So the biggest hesitance and reluctance that I get when it comes to using Messenger is it's way too personal. So, we're talking about that personalization as a good thing. Well, what are the potential pitfalls of that? And how do you help people that feel like it's too personal and they don't want to go down that road?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is a tricky thing. I think like the pitfall of all this personalization is that, I mean, it might become scary, sure. And a lot of tools, a lot of marketers that have these tools in their hands will know a lot about you, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's still a big question. It's not only marketing, it's kind of going to be like everywhere. And I don't have really an answer to this question because like, even if you read, there was a book from Eric Schmidt, who was a CEO at Google for many years. He wrote a book like 3-5 years ago about the future. Very interesting. And when when I was opening up this book, I expected him like to talk about robots and things like that. Flying chairs, whatever. But like the half of the book was about like the privacy and how this whole thing will just go crazy. Absolutely. Like how it will disrupt like even like governments and countries and political, ecosystem and everything. And it was like, I was like, all right. Where is the flying chair? And there's like still like half a book on like, all right, guys, here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. Like, and we don't really have a solution to that. So this is like just a thing to be always aware of. And one of the things we trying to do is at some point we understand like when we look at the marketers that use our platform, right? We found there are like different types of them, and some of them just really don't really respect their audience, and they just use them like all right, we've got these people, we arbitrage traffic, we like move them to the offers, whatever, I don't care what's going to happen next, right? And we understand like this is not the way to go. I mean, this is not how we want to see the future. And we started to focus more on people who try to build their long-term relationships and respect their audience. And we found that people who actually do that and have this mindset, they by nature they don't exploit the data that they receive from the users, and users actually feel that, and they are not hesitant to give more information, to receive like more personalized offers at the right time, and basically build a better connection with this brand or business. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it goes both ways, right? So when you ask people about like what brands would you recommend, they answer something, and then when you drill down why, this is one of the reasons. Is like, all right, I trust them. I can give them everything, like all my information when I get up, what I eat, then my SSN, whatever. Because like I know they will not exploit it. And what we try to do is a build platform where we let people do that and understand the importance of building the relationships. We're gonna be, predicting like block rates. So if you for example did that, here's how many people are gonna block you for that. Be aware, right? And like trying to all the time and with every step remind that hey, we are not the tool for the short term here, right?
Right.
You use us if you really want to build a long-term relationship.
Right. Wow. So you're like helping predict when people are going to do something that's going to make people distrust them?
Well, we have some things as experiments right now.
Sure,
It's not production ready, but we do believe that that's going to be the future, because like we are one of the tools that have the ability to do that. Not many of them can do that, and like we feel the responsibility that if we like, we need to do that in order to make the whole experience cleaner, right? So if people get the like a prediction that, hey, I mean, I'm gonna just like send it, like shoot this to 100,000 people, and it will receive like 20% block rate. Instead, I can send it to 20,000 people, but it's gonna be like exactly on point.
Right.
And now he can choose, right? Instead of like sending and then figuring it out, right?
Wow. So that's super fascinating to me, because I feel like humans, the human flaw is that we all want to have everybody's trust. We all want people to trust us, but we're somehow inherently bad at knowing what it is that we will do that will cause someone to distrust us. So that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we need to, we do understand it's not for some cases, it not necessarily comes from the bad intention, right?
Right.
It's just like a result of not knowing how to do that, right? And like we again feel a responsibility that we need to bring this knowledge for sure.
Wow. Same thing like you were talking about with medicine or anything else. The application of this is going to allow us, by you gathering that data, and you can tell us, okay, I mean, I can imagine it's going to be a little pop-up that'll say, okay, based on our experience, this is what's going to happen if you push go. And when that happens, we can make that decision. Oh, I don't care, I just want to send it. Or, oh, that doesn't sound good. So that you're giving us that information. And the people who say, I don't care, I'm just going to send it, well, they're going to kind of disrupt themselves and get themselves out of the system automatically on their own. They'll get less engagement, they'll have less followers, and they'll weed themselves out. So we don't have to be the police, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And the more it goes, the more things going to be connected to that. So for example, right now it might be like, all right, you're going to send this and you will receive like that much block rates, but then we could also, like, I don't know, check for what people say about you on Twitter after that, or whether they wrote to customer support, whether they're angry or not, and things like that. And it's just a lot of so again, if you think of every individual as every user is an individual with some context and some other places they can be, like Twitter, Facebook, any social media, like going to customer support, going on your website, and then trying to find where to call you to yell at you or whatever, then you can combine all these things and set this like an attributes of the user that you can then check, and the system can actually find the correlations and predict this next time. So yeah, this is what I call the real personalization of that.
I love it.
Yeah. That's
awesome.
Amazing. So thinking about that in the future, though, because if that's where we're headed, and it's that to me is a beautiful place we're headed. It's not as scary as some of the things that we've been talking about. So
for sure.
So that's wonderful. But what might be some of the pitfalls for that? So what are some of the obstacles that we might face to get us to that point that you see?
Yeah, I think I believe that there's still going to be people that will think more like a short term and will try to exploit the new abilities that comes with that, right? So, and I mean, this happens like everywhere. I mean, any new channel opens up, like there are going to be people that they're trying to get as much as possible right now and don't care what the long-term implication is going to be. And the pitfall is that people might get just the whole channel or the whole tool kind of not trusted anymore for other people. So for example, if the messenger going to be overflowed with some spammy offers or whatever, and then other people will not trust T-Mobile that is going to be writing to them, right, or something. So And this is beautiful, and we working closely working with Facebook team on that, because like there are some abilities to disrupt this acquisition channel even more. But the only reason we don't do this is we need to figure out what's going to happen if somebody's going to exploit this in the wrong way. So yeah, we still trying to think about on how to do this properly, but there are much more things coming that will make it much easier to talk between businesses and users and market to them.
Wow.
Right.
So what lessons have you learned through this whole process of Chatfuel being one of the companies, one of the major companies communicating in this platform and allowing people to communicate in this platform? What lessons have you learned that have helped you develop Chatfuel to what it is and what it will become?
Oh wow, there is a lot, and like every day we learn something new. I mean, I probably cannot like call only a few of them. Well, what we really like from with the approach we took initially, and I think we all believe that this is a correct way to go with. So we, instead of like trying to guess what people would want from the platform until like Chatfuel, and then try to design it initially for that, we kind of opened up very early and did it like in a very broad way. So here it'll kind of the building blocks that you have. You can create content, combine them together, and here is your bot. We really didn't know like whether it's going to be like for customer support or marketing or media or whatever. We just put it out there. Like media immediately spotted on, like we got all these like TechCrunch articles, Forbes, and everything like that. And then people started like flowing in, and we carefully looked at what people were doing and talked to everybody, and then we started to figure out, all right, interesting, that's an interesting concept. Like we can really scale that. Or here's people that take the email sequences that they've been like nurturing for years and or maybe decades, right? And then put it in the messenger and immediately get like 5x more efficient, right? Bigger efficiency. So, and like, what else do they need? And then we start to custom them more. So it's kind of like getting there out early, experimenting, getting feedback, and only after that trying to tailor this to specific needs. I think that was a good approach, maybe a lesson. And another thing is, I think it's really important to be coherent with what you're doing, right? So it's like, again, like there are different types of people that use bots for different things, and we realized that we really want to focus only on the ones who make the bots like we want to see the future. So, and that made it much easier, because like there are a lot of people that come in and they want to pay us and they do whatever they want, but really when you stick to this to the concept or to the impact you want to make, then it just becomes much easier, you know.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, and that's an important lesson we took. Yeah.
So the money's not really important there because it doesn't align with where you want to go.
Yeah.
So it's very easy
absolutely.
to turn that down.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's like it's never been the money for us, and it's like we are like you can sign up at Chatfuel for free and create your bot without any limitations. And we were more like, about like making an impact, getting scale, and of course, if you can kind of just focus on everyone and let everyone do whatever they want, you can get bigger. But if you really stick to your beliefs, then you just, do the improvement in the product and market product only to the ones that you think are right. So yeah, that's because like here, I mean, we are here for long term, right? Again, like if we're gonna screw it out, then there's not going to be Chatfuel.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
All the marketers in the audience, listen up.
Yeah.
Don't go for just a quick buck. Stick to your morals, stick to your ethics, stick to where you want to go in life, and you'll be fine. You'll be able to get there.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you just need to invest in this a bit more. I mean, it's like the messenger channel we're working in, it just gives you really unique abilities to get to know more information about your audience. People really love answering questions in a chat. This is what they natively do like every day, and they really like. We've been surprised. Like one of the lessons and learnings we got when we launched with that, hey, like people really like talking to bots and giving them like all the secrets and everything like easily and like again, it's a bit scary, but at the same time, if you do it the right way, you can have a list of like subscribers, and you can have their favorite, I don't know, like music, really when they get up, what the family is and what the habits are and likes and everything like that. And this gives you an ability to like then think and segment people and communicate with them differently. So you just need to think of like what do you want to know in order to provide a better service. Design it this way, and it's really easy right now. And then use that. So
wow.
Yeah.
So what, I know we're all in the same industry right now, and you are actually creating the reality that Kelly and I and the people in the audience get to play around in. What drives you nuts about this? What really bugs you about this industry? Let's get real.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tricky question. Well, yeah, we talk a lot about like what could cause bad behavior, but I generally think that it's like not everybody is that conscious to think about this, but we tend to see like and observe that marketing in general is very intrusive thing, and I think the more like if you look at the past 10 years, the attention span of people has changed a lot, right? And a lot of like you get much more channels of information than it was before. Like before you could get a newspaper, look at TV, and that was pretty much it. Right now you have all the internet, and it pops out from everywhere, from Facebook, emails, Messenger, and everything. And it's like, and I think it always like it tries to get your attention and competes with other signals. And it looks like a never-ending game when you like, all right, to get more attention, I need to use more tricks that gets your dopamine and things like that, and it's like, and when you just step back and look at that, you think like, oh my gosh, like these people really intrusive and trying to exploit me. And instead I would just, and every time like they get in my attention, they actually like break me out from the flow, from something that I always doing. Mm-hmm. And I think like the overall impact of that, like not a lot of people try to estimate, but like getting millions of people out of the flow actually like reduces what the whole humanity can do in this time, right? Yeah. So we just like, we could progress much faster if we just let people do what they are good at, right? Wow. So yeah, that's like, this is really like something that fundamentally that we will need to solve, right? Mm-hmm. And even like if you look at Facebook, this is again a thing like they have a good social impact, but at the same time, if you look at that, like people just stick to this newsfeed, not necessarily something very something that makes them better. Right. So it's like so yeah, I think this is like a big thing, not something that really drives us nuts that we like, but this is something really fundamental that we're thinking of that needs to be solved.
That's concerning. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's so good to hear you say that you're thinking about it and trying to contribute to the solution, because I think it's easy for so many of us to look at that problem and just get depressed by it and say, oh, the world is going downhill and whatever.
Somebody else will figure it out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Or just complain about it.
Yeah. So at some point, like, I realized that who else if not us, right? And then I mean, the world will be much better if like everybody thought this way, right? Because and it's like,
Yeah, so everybody in the audience, that's what we're doing, right? Send this to people, give it so that we all start, even though we're marketers and we have to sell a product or we have to do customer service or whatever it is we have to do, we don't have to just try and get more attention and be louder just to disrupt everybody's day. You're right. I agree 100%. And that brings us back to the beginning of our conversation, when we can get much more individualistic and think about the times that, so if I get on Facebook at a certain time, that's my choice. And if the bot knows that I'm there at that time and I'll probably be there again tomorrow or the next day or in a month, then that's my choice to be there. It doesn't mean you have to push your bot at me 5 times a day when I'm not there.
Right.
And people, you can also turn off your notifications anytime you want. Right?
Yeah,
and then you won't get it at all.
Yeah, I mean, but then it's a bit harder to distinguish, like when you turn it off completely, like some real important ones, right? So something that you didn't really want to miss. So
text me. Go ahead and text me. No, I
believe me, there's going to be businesses that's going to be texting you.
They already do.
And in a much like much more new way than you used to have this through the like texting for 10 years. You probably know that the Apple is all working on opening up the platform in iMessage where businesses could communicate. So that will give a completely new level of what's possible. So I mean, there's not going to be things like, hey, this is like only for personal and this is for businesses. It's going to be all crossed together, and might not necessarily be bad if we again think about that responsibly, right? It's going to be actually good. I believe in a good future.
Well, as long as people, yes, I agree with you. And I'm so thankful that you are there and you are believing in that future, because as long as people like you are creating companies on those platforms to allow us to have businesses there, then we're good. Or hopefully we will be able to use our attention and our dollars to get rid of the companies who aren't like you, to make room for the companies who are. So I believe in that future. I believe in it 100%.
Yeah. I also believe, like, again, the better competition in this space in terms of like marketers that do the experience, the better we get. So it's more like at some point there's going to be like a quick buck, right? But then at some point people realize like, all right, I mean, if I do this, then I will outcompete these marketers in the long run. And what we really do is like, instead of like giving this channel, like for example, Messenger channel, to people who know how to code, we are actually giving this channel to a lot more people, like 100x more or even more, that are non-technical. And this is the beauty of that, because like then you can get more people that are trying to compete in terms of better user experience, and then we eventually get to the right point faster, right? So it both like just very inspiring, because it's gonna we just gonna get there to the right point faster. But it also, like, I remember when I was like 13 and I was starting my career as a software engineer, I was thinking like, why do I like this, right? And when I wrote my first like couple of programs, I realized like, all right, I mean, I just get this an amazing emotion when I understand that I can control machine. I write something and it just reacts exactly how I teach it to do. So it was like, this is a very good feeling that I empower something. And believe me or not, we receive like daily emails from non-technical people, from non-technical marketers. They say like, hey, I never in my life built something, any app that is actually behaving as I designed it. And like right now with Chatfuel, I can do that. And I absolutely 100% understand their feeling, because like I've been there, right? So it's really very motivational for us to do something that everybody can use and experience this feeling of building a machine, rules or app or whatever you call it.
Right. There is nothing that compares to that feeling. I'm a web developer and I know exactly what you mean. And it's, yeah.
And I'm not, and I know exactly what you mean.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean that, and I never really thought of it that way. I keep describing myself as a wannabe geek, a wannabe techie, because I love playing with this stuff. But I've never gotten deep enough to be a developer like you guys are. But you have given me the ability to do that. And that's exactly how I feel. It is so incredible to be able to have that. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So where do you... we always look for some type of a tool or a tip, because this is really looking at the future of marketing and obviously the future of tech in many, many ways in business. Mm-hmm. So do you have a tool or a tip that you can suggest to our audience that will give them that futurist advantage, that will help them take advantage of what's coming in the future, but apply it today?
Yeah, I mean, of course, you guys need to start with going to Chatfuel and creating your first bot. As you can see, people just you don't need to have any skills for that necessarily. So just go ahead and try, and this is gonna be your one more step to exploring new channels and experimenting. I think like in order to just be in a good position in the future, you just need to be like really moving fast and trying new things, right? And that's for sure the one thing to try. And once you're there or anywhere else, I think you really like the most important tip again is like try to start asking your people instead of like pushing them. Just firstly ask and understand them better, like who they are and what problems do they have and why. And then it could be really like if in the past you needed to like just take a phone and call and talk to everybody individually to understand that. Right now you can really have this one-on-one conversation at scale, and it will give you the information like really, really fast. And we for example ourselves use this technique. So for example, when I as a product manager, I need to understand something and I need to talk to people, sometimes we just design a quick survey in a bot and send this to people that we know they're going to be relevant to this. And we really like this is the fastest way to get the really meaningful like response. We get like in 20 minutes, I get all I need. Instead of like, even if you do this in service in email or something, people don't reply to this, it's going to take days and everything. Here is like just, pressing some buttons, quick replies. Oh yeah, Chatfuel asked me something. Yeah, I need that. And then just a little bit of free form input.
People love sharing that information in Messenger. Absolutely. I can't tell you how many times I have told someone has asked me, why should I have a bot? And that's my answer, is that the amount of personal information they'll give you and insight that they'll give you is just not comparable. There's nothing out there right now that you can have that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just then once you get there and read these responses, just don't stop there and start to find the commonalities of these people and segment them, and then understand like better, like, all right, who they are and what are the attributes of this group and how can I market them better. And we're going to be supporting you along the way. We're going to be giving you all the tools for the segmentation and better marketing to these people and understanding more and more. So I think, yeah, in combination with really responsibility for users' attention and building a long-term relationship with your audience, you're definitely going to be in good shape in the future.
I love that.
Thank you.
Love it.
Andrew, thank you so much. I love chatting with you. I'm so honored that you shared your time with us and shared where you're going. I know Chatfuel is coming out with some crazy stuff. You've just added parts to your platform, being able to search and know exactly the people that are in your bot and in your platform, which is invaluable information to do exactly what you're talking about, these personalizations. So thank you so much. Is there any last thought that you'd like to give the people in the audience, or, just say, have a great afternoon, see you later?
No, I mean, I really enjoyed the conversation. I like what you guys doing, and I think, yeah, it's important to enlighten people on what might be coming in the future. I mean, the last quick tip is to the audience is like, guys, stick to these guys, and I know that Mary does an amazing job in bots. Really, like I really think like if you're just gonna be listening what Mary recommends, you're gonna be good. So, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. So that's sweet of you.
So yeah, thank you guys, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Get your Futurist advantage by joining our Facebook group at marketingfuturist.co/group. And tune in for our next journey into the future of marketing.